I say the word volleyball, what things come to mind? To me, there's 4 things: pass, set, hit, and spandex. But what most people realize that there's more to volleyball than just those 4 things. It is important to know because volleyball is on the rise. It is currently ranked among the top participation sports, only behind soccer. And someday, you'll have to attend a volleyball game, and it is important to be fully educated so you know exactly what is going on. I have been playing volleyball since 3rd grade, and I currently serve as my high school varsity libero, or defensive specialist. Today, I want to inform you about volleyball. I will tell you about the history, the rules and rule changes, and also the proper technique to make yourself a great volleyball player. According to Livestrong.com, in 1895, William G. Morgan invented the volleyball in the United States. He wanted to combine together the elements of basketball, baseball, handball, and tennis all together to form a new kind of game. He wanted this to be in a gym, indoors, but it could also be played outdoors too. The 2 teams were to play the ball over across the net back and forth until one side let the ball hit the ground. Once that happened, they forfeited the ball and the other team had the opportunity to serve. The first ball that was used was a bladder of a basketball. But Morgan decided this was too light to be used and too slow, so he decided to try an actual basketball. But this was too big and heavy. So Morgan contacted A.G. Spalding to construct a ball specifically for the sport. In 1900, a ball was made especially for volleyball. And this is what it looked like. In 1896, an official volleyball game was held. And during that same year, a YMCA faculty member was observing them play volleyball. And he noticed that the teams appeared to be volleying the ball back and forth, and that Morgan should consider calling the game volleyball. Morgan liked that idea, so from then on, it was called volleyball. After that, it became quickly popular around the world. In 1916, the Philippines invented the set and the spike. They also invented the bomba, or the kill. They called their hitters bomberinos. In 1920, the YMCA held the first national championship. 26 teams from 11 states participated. In 1948, the first 2-man beach volleyball team was played. In 1952, the first NCAA national championship was held. And in the 1960s, new skills were being added to volleyball, like the forearm pass and the bump, the block, defensive dives and rolls, and also the soft hit, or the dink. And that is the history of volleyball. Throughout volleyball history, there have been many rule changes. This is one of the biggest drawbacks to volleyball. Coaches had a hard time teaching their players how to play the ball right, and the proper rules. So, luckily, in the past 11 years, there have not been very many drastic changes. There are 10 original rules to the game. The first rule said that there were to be 9 innings. The second rule defined what an inning was. The third and fourth said what the net and the court were supposed to be like. In the middle of the court, there was supposed to be a net to divide the 2 sides separately and evenly. The fifth rule said about the ball. It was to be covered in leather or canvas. The 6th rule said about serving. There could be only 2 serves allowed. The server was only allowed 2 serves to go over the net. The 7th explained about scoring. Scoring could only happen if the team was serving the ball. The 8th said if the balls were to come in contact with the net at any time, the ball was to be considered out of play. The 9th said if the ball hit the boundary line, it was to be considered out of bounds. And the last one said that any number of players could be on the court at one time playing, as long as you had the appropriate space. But if you've watched volleyball in the past years, you will notice that many of these rules are not the same. Now games go to 25 points, and you must win by 2. There are no innings, and servers only get 1 chance to get the ball over the net. Teams can score even if they are not serving, and balls can touch the net if they are still playable. If the ball touches the boundary lines, it is to be considered inbounds. And according to the 2012-2013 volleyball rulebook, only 6 players are allowed on the court at one time. And head coach of the volleyball Uniontown High School, Jackie Hall, says that a libero has been added, or defensive specialist. They are allowed to substitute for anybody on the back row at any time, as long as if the ball is not in play. And that's the rules of volleyball. The last thing I would like to walk you through today is the proper technique for all the skills of volleyball. The first thing I would like to tell you about is serving. Serving is a very important skill and relies solely on the individual. First, the player should start with a relaxed stance with feet shoulder-width apart, but they should have their left foot in front. As they are preparing to serve the ball, they take their hand and place both hands on the ball and toss it up in the air at a good height. Now, as you toss it in the air, you need to contact it with an open hand and swing your arm down. As the ball goes over the net, you should land with your arm beside your side. And after that, there's the forearm pass, what some people call the bump. This is the first technique used whenever a ball comes over the net. The player should start with a relaxed stance again, but the legs should be slightly bent and ready to move to either side, front or back. As the ball is coming over the net to you, you should create a fist wrap. This is done by making a fist with one hand and wrapping your hand around the other hand to perform a fist wrap. As the ball is contacting, you need to straighten your arms out to perform a flat, solid surface for the ball to play off of. Your shoulders should be directed towards the target so it can be directed towards the setter. After the pass has been made, the set is usually the next step. The setter should start with their feet shoulder width apart too, just like everything else, but the right foot should be in front. This is because the right foot is usually closest to the net, and you do not want to set the ball into the net. The next thing you do is bring your hands above your forehead and make a pocket for the ball. This should be done by evenly spreading the fingers apart and forming a triangle. The ball should rest on the pads of the fingers. As you are making the set, stand up as tall as possible and even possibly jump if you are close to the net while you're releasing the ball. And after that, the last element of volleyball is the hit. There are 3 types of hits: the power attack, the tip, and the roll shot. In order to hit the ball, it is important to have the correct approach. Most people use a 3-step approach. The sequence is left, right, left. The first 2 steps are long, but the last one is short and powerful. As you come up, you contact the ball at the highest point and swing your arm through to create motion, or a top spin. And then you should land in a balanced position. And those are the skills of volleyball. Today I've informed you about volleyball. I've told you about the history, the rules and rule changes, and also the proper technique. I hope you use this information to understand the game better. Thank you.